Now at 10, authorities warn of a rise in imposter scams. KOAM's Tanya Bach has a special report including how you can protect yourself. Plus, concerned parents look for ways to prevent inattentive drivers from failing to observe traffic laws around school buses. And the community of Noel, Missouri continues to feel the impact of the impending Tyson closure.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The Federal Trade Commission processed 2.4 million fraud reports in 2022 with an $8.8 billion price tag. According to the FTC, identity theft and imposter scams topped the list. This is KOAM News at 10. KOAM's Tanya Bach sat down with a Southeast Kansas woman who fell victim to an imposter scam involving her bank card. Tanya joins us in the studio now with details.
All right, thanks, Dal. Imposter scams happen when someone pretends to be a trusted person to get you to either send them money or give out personal information. And when they get the details they need, that's when it goes south. The criminals in the case I'm about to tell you about are still active. And for that reason, we've decided to keep our victims' identity hidden.
They said that they were so-and-so from the fraud department with Chime, and that we've seen fraudulent activity on your account.
An account owned by this woman, who we will refer to as Letitia. It started with text messages on Letitia's mother's phone telling her someone had made criminal transactions with her card at a Big Lots and transferred $35 to an inmate. Her mother immediately started calling her bank, but couldn't get through. That's when the phone rang.
So she brought the phone to me and was like, they're asking for you. It's your card that's being hacked, not mine.
But it wasn't Chime's fraud department on the other end of the line, and Letitia's card did not have any fraudulent charges yet.
The first one was to an All-Star Liquor and then a Shell station.
The scammers on the phone with Letitia the entire time.
While I was on my phone, doing my banking app, watching my money just come out.
Until her account was drained.
It did seem legit, and these people are going to seem legit. They've practiced their scripts. They have scripts that they're reading from, and they're training new people every day to scam people out of money.
Officer Randa Andrews with the Baxter Springs Police Department says imposter scams like this are becoming all too common. According to the Federal Trade Commission, for every 5 imposter scam attempts, at least one person loses money.
Anywhere from $250 all the way up to, several $1,000s.
And those dollars add up. Kansas reported more than $40 million in fraud losses last year. Oklahoma, nearly $55 million. And Missouri topped $83 million in fraud losses in 2022.
Some of these people don't work anymore, and that's their retirement.
From pop-up ads online to long-distance social media connections, Officer Andrews says scammers will find a way to get to you. The most popular, though, is through text and phone calls. Her best advice, just hang up. Fortunately for Letitia, after filing a police report and a dispute with Chime, she did get her money back. As for her scammers, Officer Andrews tracked them to Florida and is currently working with Orlando police to identify them. Well, scammers don't just target the elderly. According to the FTC, in 2022, younger people reported losing more money to fraud more often than older people. However, the average dollar amount lost did grow as the victim aged. Now, Officer Andrews and the Baxter PD will be hosting a scam prevention class this Saturday, September 2nd, from 2 to 3 p.m. at the Baxter Springs City Hall. It's open for anyone to attend. You can find more information on the class, plus helpful scam prevention tips on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. And those numbers that I reported seem pretty high, but they're actually lower than the Officer Andrews says they should be, because a lot of people are too embarrassed to report it.
I don't doubt that for a minute, but boy, that is a shame, because anyone could fall victim to a scam like this. It's easy to envision it happening. People need to be cautious.
I'm constantly wondering if all of these phone calls I'm getting throughout the day are actually scams,
Some of them might be.
Yeah.
We all have to be aware.
Don't fall.
Thank you so much. Interesting report. Beautiful start to the work week weather-wise. Let's check in with Sam.
Thank you very much, Dow. Yeah, it's been a beautiful day across the entire 4-state area. We started out you might want to call it chilly, with temperatures in the upper 50s and lower 60s. Certainly for August, felt very, very nice with those low dew points. Then this afternoon, temperatures warmed up pretty nicely in the low to mid 80s, especially in southeastern Kansas, where they got up to 88 degrees over there in Howard and 87 in Sedan. But now our attention is going to be turning down to the Gulf of Mexico with the hurricane developing. This is Idalia, and now it's starting to develop a central dense overcast and also a little bit of warming there. That's indicating an eye is trying to form just on the western tip of Cuba. That's going to be moving towards the north, so the folks in Florida are going to be under the gun. But tonight in our area, temperatures dropping through the 60s to around 61 degrees by tomorrow morning. And looking down the lane, we have some cool nights, warm afternoons ahead, a dry week as well. And unfortunately, the heat wave may return a little bit, and I'll tell you more about that in just a bit.
All right, we'll catch you in a few. Less than a month after Tyson announced the closure of the Knoll plant, local businesses and housing programs in the area are already feeling the impact. According to Knoll Housing Authority Executive Director Rosetta Hartley, out of the 27 Somalian families that are part of the program and are tied to Tyson, 5 have already given notice that they're moving at the end of October. 2 are moving in January. Another local business, Bob's Hometown Pizza's owner, Leanne Parrish, says about 80% of her clients are somehow tied to Tyson. With the closing of the plant coming, she's sad to see some of them already leaving.
We're just going day by day. I mean, we made it through COVID. We'll make it through this somehow.
We've grown. I've actually really grown to love our Somalian community, and it's going to be difficult for us.
The McDonald County Chamber is organizing another career fair for those looking for jobs. That event's going to be on September 28th. Now that there are more school buses on the roads during the morning commute, drivers won't have to stay vigilant when students are boarding. Parents near 2nd and Schifferdecker and Joplin are concerned about the number of drivers passing school buses while students board. Parents say this has been happening since school started a week ago.
Myself and my neighbor, who live very close to her, have about 16 children between us. That's not even including the other side of the road. It would be great if they could put up some more signs to try to slow people down or patrol the area more. That's what I would suggest.
According to Missouri law, illegally passing a school bus is a Class A misdemeanor. First-time offenders found guilty, they could have their license suspended for 90 days. A new law in Missouri is going to take a more hands-off approach to the way you drive. The Siddons-Benning hands-free law goes into effect today. The new law prohibits handheld cell phone use while driving. And it's not just cell phones, it's any electronic communication device like pagers and tablets. There are specific exemptions in the law for drivers communicating in emergency situations, emergency first responders, and other emergency roadside workers, and for hire drivers. Penalties for violation of the law will be enacted beginning in January 1st of 2025 to allow adequate time for public education. Travelers gearing up for the holiday weekend can expect more traffic than last year. Experts say gas prices are unlikely to deter the late summer Great American Road Trip. That goes for travelers in the air as well. According to AAA booking data, flights, hotels, rental cars, and cruises are all up over 2022. INRIX, a global provider of transportation data and insights, expects this Thursday between 2 and 6 p.m. to be the busiest time on the roads. Anyone flying over the holiday weekend should check airline schedules for delays or cancellations before leaving for the airport. Coming up, authorities in Jacksonville, Florida call Saturday's shooting rampage that killed 3 people racially motivated. Plus,
people are evacuating Florida's Gulf Coast. It's a state of emergency. I'm Larry Seward, and I'll show you what authorities plan to do next.
former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows took the witness stand in Atlanta today in an attempt to move his indictment from Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis out of state court and into a federal one. Meadows is one of the 19 co-defendants named in the sweeping indictment of 2 weeks ago, alleging former President Trump and his GOP allies led a criminal conspiracy to overturn Georgia's 2020 presidential election results. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office released surveillance footage from Saturday's deadly shooting at a store in Jacksonville, Florida, in what authorities say was a racially motivated attack. The sheriff says the gunman, 21-year-old Ryan Palmeter, left behind racist writings before carrying out that shooting that killed 3 black people. He then took his own life. Florida residents stocked up on sandbags and evacuated from homes in low-lying areas along the Gulf Coast as Tropical Storm Idalia intensifies. Larry Seward has the latest.
On Florida's west coast, residents bracing for Idalia are gassing up and loading their cars with sandbags and other essentials.
We're prepping and hoping for the best.
I pulled everything out from my hurricane kit with my lights, all my extra batteries, stuff for my kid. I got some non-perishable food items, lots of water.
Definitely going to put the panels up, cover up all the windows, probably have a bunch of people over because I have the generator.
Ahead of the storm's expected arrival, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis declared a state of emergency in counties spanning the northern half of the state, from here along the Gulf to the Atlantic coast.
It will become a hurricane very shortly. The storm is then forecast to make landfall along Florida's Big Bend Wednesday morning as a major hurricane.
As satellite images tracked Idalia's path toward Florida, evacuation orders were issued in vulnerable, low-lying areas, and officials say more may be coming.
If you're in those low-lying areas, the reason why they're advising you to evacuate is because you're going to be susceptible to storm surge.
Ahead of Idalia's expected landfall, the Coast Guard prepared search and rescue helicopters, while more than 1,000 National Guard members have already been mobilized. Larry Seward, CBS News, Holiday, Florida.
Tampa International Airport is going to remain closed until after that storm. A little bit later, some homegrown pickleball talent in Pittsburgh hosts the best players in the world for the Pickle and Pit event and fundraiser.
And we have a look at your work week forecast, including a peek at the weekend to let you know how much longer can this cool weather stick around. We'll have the answer when we come back. It sure is nice to wake up with cool temperatures and lower dew points in comparison to what we had last week. And it looks like it's going to stay that way for a little bit longer. Let's start out this morning at Indigo Sky Casino and Resort down in Seneca, Missouri. And as we go through the afternoon, you could see that the clouds started to move in around mid-morning, but then the sun broke through those clouds and we were just left with some scattered cumulus this afternoon. And then we had some cirrus coming in as we headed towards the evening hours, and now we're left with mostly fair conditions across the entire area. We were below normal today. Can you believe that? 85 was the high. Normally we're 88 this time of year, and look at the low, 57 degrees this morning. Not near the record, but definitely pleasant out there to say the least. Radar right now is all clear across our area and pretty much over the entire Central Plains. We have to go all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico before we start to pick up any decent weather going on. Well, I shouldn't say decent, but active weather. Just to the west of Cuba, that is where Idalia has formed, barely below a hurricane, is expected to become a hurricane on the next advisory and then move northward and intensify as it continues to do so. Hurricane warnings in effect for the western coast of Florida, and unfortunately it's going to be coming ashore at about high tide at a supermoon in a swampy area. So the storm surge is likely going to be a big factor in its landfall. No hurricanes to deal with in our area, thank goodness. Instead, we have temperatures in the 60s this evening. Check out Iola. They're already down to 67. Meanwhile, it's 72 in Miami, Chatopa, as well as Neosho, 74 degrees, one of the warmest readings over there in Anderson. But the good news is the dew points. The dew points are in the upper 50s and 60s, and that is certainly more comfortable than what we dealt with last week with dew points in the upper 70s and low 80s. So right now, the dew point tracker, not too bad as far as that goes. Rainfall chances over the next 36 hours are going to be pretty close to zero and will be so for the next several days as this ridge of high pressure off to the west that caused all the heat last week is going to try to make a comeback. As it moves to the east, it's going to still move into our area, but at least there's a weakness in the ridge, so it doesn't appear that it's going to be as intense as it was last week, but we'll still be above normal on your temperatures. Tonight, though, below normal. Generally lows in the 60s with northerly winds. Then tomorrow, partly cloudy with highs in the 80s, even a few 90s showing up in southeastern Kansas. It shows a few showers on there, but that's overdone. And then as we go into Wednesday morning, still lows in the 60s, and then Wednesday afternoon looking pretty good. Temperatures in the low to mid 80s across the entire area. And then as we go into Thursday morning, we drop back down into the upper 50s, especially up towards the north, and lower 60s elsewhere with light and variable winds. Over the next 7 days, here's the forecast. Dry, unfortunately, because we definitely need the rainfall. But with that dryness, we're going to start to see temperatures rising into the 90s. Yes, mid 90s, but at least the humidity levels should be lower. but that's still above normal for this time of year when we're supposed to be heading towards fall, Dow. And then a chance of showers on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Let's hope we get some showers by then.
Me too.
It's going to be plenty dry by the time we get to next Tuesday, Wednesday,
Yeah,
and Thursday.
dry as a bone, unfortunately, this week.
Yeah, but we'll enjoy these temps in
Absolutely.
the 80s in the meantime. Thanks, Sam. The USDA is investing nearly $50 million to help utilities in rural Kansas build and improve clean drinking water and sanitary wastewater systems. Some of that money is going to local projects. Neosho County Rural Water District Number 4 is receiving nearly $11 million in loans and grants to build a new booster pump station and storage tank. More than $16.5 million will be used to refurbish the water system in Girard. And the city of Humboldt is getting nearly $13 million to replace piping, hydrants, and meters. Top-ranked pickleball players from all around the world descended on Pittsburgh today. The Pickle in Pit event includes play with the pros games, a pickleball clinic, an exhibition match, and signed autographs for some of the top-ranked pickleball players on the planet.
Fun to get out there and play with everybody. There were some gems in there, some good players, some potential. I'm being really serious. And it was really cool to be able to play on the courts that J-Dub grew up playing tennis on, now converted to pickleball. It's like kind of like the community is growing with us.
Proceeds from this fundraiser are going to go to maintaining and enhancing the Jack Johnson courts and new pickleball programs at the Four Oaks Sports Complex in Lincoln Park. Still ahead, Missouri Southern football says its offense has taken a big step forward entering the season opener on Thursday. And Nevada High School softball tries to hand Webb City its first loss of the season. John Dales has those stories and more coming up next.
The college football season begins on Thursday for Missouri Southern, and the Lions are excited to get out there and prove just how much better they've gotten since going 4-7 in 2022. This afternoon, head coach Atiba Bradley, along with a couple MSSU players, took the podium to preview an opponent for the first time this season. And one of the areas the Lions are very excited about heading into 2023 is the improvement of second-year quarterback Luke Sampson.
Just been so pleased with his leadership, his poise. You can see his feet are quieter. He's throwing the ball in some really good windows. He has all but eliminated some of the mistakes that he made the last 3 games of the year. And so I think he's ready to take a big step from year 1 to year 2.
Not that our defense isn't good, but our offense has looked really well throwing the ball around and playing catch. That's one of our fundamental things as an offense is just playing catch, and that's all it is. You're just throwing the ball to each other. So we've had a good connection with the whole group.
Carl Junction softball just began its season this weekend with a tournament in which it went 3-1. And with that, the Bulldogs off to their best start since 2009. This evening, they're at home against Cassville. In the bottom of the first, Aubrey Stouffer gets a strikeout for the Wildcats. Carl Junction would heat up at the plate, though, because bottom 2, no score. Maddie Olds smashes one to left field. The sun causing a little bit of trouble, so that one's going to drop down, and Olds hustles around the bases, slides in safely just ahead of the tag at third. That's a triple. 2 batters later, Izzy Southern absolutely unloads on this ball to right center field and out. That's gone for a 2-run homer, her first of the season. CJ takes a 2-0 lead. Bottom third, hard contact continues to be a trend. Kinley Spindler knocks one up the middle. She reaches safely. Bulldogs win this one going away. 8-4 the final. They're off to a 4-1 start. Meanwhile, just about 15 minutes away, Nevada and Webb City playing this evening as well. The Tigers played 3 games on Saturday. They only gave up 1 run in all 3 of them. They get it done at the plate as well, though. Top 5, this RBI single by Kalea Johnson, part of a 4-run inning to give the Tigers a 5-1 lead. On the mound, Peyton Eaton, a machine in this one. First, the quick reflexes on this line drive bunt right back to her. Gets it out in the bottom of the 5th. Gets into a little bit of trouble in the 6th when Mackenzie Wynn bounces one up the middle. She would reach on this fielding error. Eaton, cool, calm, and collected though. Very next batter, ground ball right back to her. Picks it up, throws on to first. Escapes the sixth with no harm. She'd go all 7 innings, only allowing 3 hits. Picks up her 4th strikeout to end it. Nevada wins 5-1 on the road. And I think we really know we're in the full swing of things in fall sports. When I'm kind of hustling around going from game to game, that was the case tonight. But exciting to see, softball.
Softball and talking about upcoming football season.
Yeah.
And all kinds of things going on. And you talked to Mitch Holtis.
Yeah,
this
very
afternoon.
exciting.
We'll be right back. A Ferris wheel in St. Louis had some VIP guests today. That is, of course, very important pups. In honor of National Dog Month and National Dog Day, which was last week, the St. Louis wheel hosted dogs with their humans. This is the second time dogs have been allowed on the St. Louis wheel. The first time was in March of 2022 for National Puppy Day. So yeah, there's a National Dog Day and there's a National Puppy Day. As the owner of a dog, I can tell you mine, you say the word ride and he goes, yeah, I'm in favor. If you explain it's a Ferris wheel ride, I'm not sure how
I
you
wonder how
feel
that would
about
work.
that. I think some of them might say, this
I'll
isn't what I
pass.
signed up for.
Yeah.
The weather.
Yeah. Oh, it's a great day to take the dog out walking with temperatures in the 50s in the morning and then 80s in the afternoon. We are going to get back to more summer-like weather as we head towards the weekend, but at least we introduce a chance of showers and storms in there as well.
That's good. Final sports note.
You mentioned it earlier. Good chance to sit down with Mitch Holtis, the voice of the Chiefs, earlier today. We've got that full interview on our station's website, so everyone should check that out.
Some of us got to see his Super Bowl ring.
Yeah.
So it's kinda cool. Thanks for joining us. Let's make it a great tomorrow.